Communities of Laudium and Erasmia in Tshwane have to deal with damaged roads, poorly maintained sports facilities and water shortages. Raw sewage and refuse removal is another major challenge in the community. Ahmed Kajee is in Laudium and joins us now. Ahmed, a very good afternoon to you. You're with some volunteer disaster management officials. Take us through perhaps their role in the community in the midst of these pressing challenges.
Thank you very much. Yes, indeed, we do have the volunteer disaster management teams with us. We will be touching base with them in just a few moments to find out exactly what their operations are. But in many ways, they are complementing many of the services which should be coming through from the Tshwane city officials as well. So at times when there is a deficiency coming through from the city, when they cannot come out, whether it be for medical emergencies or fire emergencies or anything like that, the volunteers happen to come in and step in. We'll just be chatting to them in a few moments' time. But just to wrap up and to take you through what we have seen over the last day or so, at least over the last few hours that we have been here, we have seen the cricket club at the Laudium Cricket Stadium. The clubhouse over there completely dilapidated, poor maintenance, and a few vagrants have actually made their way into that particular clubhouse and have, in essence, set up their shelters in there. That's one of the major concerns facing the community as well. Secondly, refuse removal and sewage challenges is another one as well. The Itereleng informal settlement and the subsequent and nearby residential area has also been severely affected by the lack of refuse removal and sewage coming into that particular area. Damage to infrastructure is one of the main reasons that sewage is now collecting in that area, and what we happen to be seeing is many residents are now coming forth and saying that they are experiencing ill health. Many children are playing in that area. And this is many of the challenges which the community of Tshwane, of Laudium, of Erasmia are facing as well, and Gerardsville to a certain extent, where we actually have come through from a burst pipe as well. Many of the residents had to actually step in and take care of that because the city of Tshwane, they say, have not come in to carry out their sufficient repair jobs as well. But bringing the conversation back to the disaster volunteer teams, they'll be joining me right now. Thanks very much for your time today. Can you maybe just take us through exactly what you have been doing over the last few months within the community?
Okay, thank you so much for having us. Okay, so Laudium Disaster Management is a non-profit organization completely funded by the community, and actually every single one of us are volunteers. We volunteer our own time. We're an emergency response team that mainly deals with fires, house fires, veld fires, accidents and medical calls. We're just there to bridge the gap between state services coming here. So we purely do it on a volunteer basis. All our members and our funding all comes from the community for equipment, vehicles, etc.
I'm assuming there are some times where you happen to be on scene prior to law enforcement or medical emergency services from the city of Tshwane coming through as well?
Yes, that is true. So we do get there before because, as I've explained, we're the bridge between state services arriving here due to the time delay. So there are many occasions where we are on scene first. We do have communications with other services to bring the services to the community. And there have been times where we are there before them.
What's the biggest challenge for a volunteer organization such as yourself?
I think funding and the manpower is definitely a big part of it. But then paired with it is the support we get from state services and the government itself, the city. We have to basically do the entire operation ourselves and see where we can bridge the gaps in between. Yeah.
I guess it's unfortunate in a situation such as this one where because service delivery is lacking, an organization such as your one had to be formed.
Oh yes, definitely. Our existence is purely because there is a lack of it. I would say, like, even, for example, if a patient does not have medical aid, you cannot go with a private ambulance service or medical service. You'll have to wait for government to come through, and to get state out is because of how thinly stretched they are. It does take a time delay.
Perfect. Thanks very much for your time today, indeed. So there you have it in terms of the disaster management teams in and around the community of Laudium and Erasmia and Gerardsville. They happen to be doing quite a lot of work in the community, complementing to an extent where the lack of service, where the city of Tshwane may not be able to provide their adequate resources as well. But I guess the big point is coming to the fact that organizations such as this one are simply formed due to the fact that service delivery resources are just so stretched so thinly to that extent where they need to actually come through into these particular areas. And just speaking to the heat that we are experiencing right now, these water shortages have been excessively difficult on this particular community. Organizations such as this one have been delivering water to the community, and given that burst pipe, which actually just started out about 2 hours ago, just around 5 kilometers from where we are, I assume that they probably will be busy heading into the new week as well.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Let's leave it there for now. Of course, as we continue to keep an eye on those developments, Ahmed Kajee bringing us the very latest.